we're waiting a few minutes trying to get Ms. Jones on. She'll join us shortly. I'm Terry O'Brien. I'll call this meeting of the March meeting of the Board of Education to order. Start with taking a roll. Mr. Calderon.
Here.
Ms. Appleton.
Here.
Mr. Romine.
Here.
And I'm here. I've asked Ms. Appleton to start us off with a prayer and Mr. Calderon to say the pledge. So if you'd like to join us, please stay.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for the blessings that you so richly bestow on us. I thank you for the opportunity to recognize these students who have achieved some wonderful things in the school district. And we just thank you for the teachers and the staff and the parents who work tirelessly to help our students achieve and become all that they can be. I just pray that you will continue to bless our school district, help us as a board to make the decisions that would be pleasing in your sight for our district. And I pray that you would be with our students and keep them safe and just protect them in all that they do. We just thank you, Lord, for being our Savior, for forgiving us of our sins. And I pray that you'll bless us all in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving forward, I'd like to seek approval for the agenda for the meeting, for this meeting, March 25th.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Have approval for the action on the meetings of the regular board meeting on February 25th.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All four?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Presentations.
Mr. President, if we move down front, we've got Athletic Director Jeremy Sawyer here to present our state champion diver.
So I'm a little long-winded when I do this, so.
Dean wants to train.
Yeah. No, James, he doesn't set our favorites, so. Good evening, sorry. Good evening, Mr. President. Glad I was here. You come more board meetings from Madam President. So good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Strickland, or Superintendent, Mr. Strickland. Thank you for allowing us to gather this evening to honor one of our outstanding athletes at Hobbs High. It's my privilege to welcome our 2024-25 Coast State champion diver, Alfredo Hernandez. Through Coach, speaking with Coach earlier, and just being around this young man, Alfredo, although he's only a sophomore, he's already made a significant mark on our Hobbs High swim and dive team. Just 2 short years of progression in the sport of diving has been remarkable, with his development surpassing any other diver Coach Calderon has seen. According to Coach, Alfredo's growth in the sport has been nothing short of exceptional. Before joining the diving program, Alfredo had extensive trampoline experience. As a young boy, he would spend hours jumping on the trampoline that came from his mother. In addition to his diving skills, Alfredo is also a multi-sport athlete at Hobbs High. He plays soccer and also competes in track and field. His involvement in all the sports makes him versatile in his commitment to Hobbs athletics. He's not only a skilled athlete, but also a respected one. He's known for his self-motivation, constant drive for perfection, and a positive winning attitude. His work ethic is also outstanding, and he's always been respectful to his teammates, coaches, and fellow athletes. A few of his notable accomplishments this year, in his career. Last year, he placed 5th at state as a freshman. This year, he became the 24-25 district diving champion. He also achieved 3 personal best scores this year, with his highest score being a 5:31.15 at the state championships, which secured him the Coast State championship title. He's also the first diver in Hobbs history to, making sure I'm saying that right because it's a long history, First diver in Hobbs history to win a state championship as a sophomore. So great accomplishment. And then also in Coach Calderon's illustrious career, it's the first time she's ever seen a tie for first place at state. So we're thrilled with Alfredo and what he's going to do for us the next 2 years. So our 24-25 state champion. Congratulations.
You know what your favorite part is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well. Oh, yes.
Right in the middle, please.
Oh.
Symmetry, what can I say?
Well, it was
still
It's
okay.
Go ahead.
Everybody right up here. You said, well. Always get one person who's.
Sleep on us, folks?
Okay, ready?
All right.
Congratulations. Mr. President, next up, we have recognition of our state science Olympiad first through third place winners. So with that, I'll call up Mr. Sky Wilson.
I'll come to you.
Mr. President, members of the board, it's my pleasure to tell you that Houston Middle School competed at regional and state science Olympiad. We took fourth at both places. At state science Olympiad, we were only beat by private and charter schools. We were the highest ranked public school in our division. For our two first place winners were in Code Busters was Keller Day, Kasim Maddox, and Jamie Ortega.
Just gonna wave from there.
So as you guys get called up, we'll just shake hands with you and y'all just hang out. After I announce everybody, we'll take one big picture. Some of you I know will go through here multiple times.
Go straight there.
Congratulations. Favorite line, told you, right?
Oh, you can
All
stay over here.
Hang out right here, okay?
Our next first place team was Fossils, Lillian Couples, and Emmy Simon.
Congratulations.
Third place, Eric Trajectory, Hayden Campbell, and Clayton Wilson. Third place, Metric Mastery, Jamie Ortega, and Lincoln Hunter.
Okay, we're proud of you. Job.
And third place, Wind Power, Jonathan Thomason, and Ivana Navarez.
That's
it. Yes, sir.
All right. Now, since we had to move this time, now we'll have you sit back in here and we'll fill in spots. Y'all stand right in here for me. There you go.
Awesome, awesome.
Oh, Miss Kevin, all set up. I got fired. First time.
Okay.
Come on, here, bud.
Oh, I'm like,
Look up here for me.
While we still got you, I want to take this opportunity and recognize Mr. Wilson as well. Mr. Wilson. So for those of you who don't know, Mr. Wilson was named the Science Olympiad Coach of the Year for the state of New Mexico. What have you done? Students, we're super proud of you. Continue to challenge yourself, continue to be inquisitive, and learn from what you can learn from the process of science. Welcome from the science teacher, favorite subject, best subject. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Mr. Jefferson, are you doing high school? Perfect. Jefferson for high school.
Evening, Mr. President, the board, and Mr. Strickland. For nearly 20 years, I've been doing Science Olympiad, and it always ends up being kind of a surprise at the end of the year because you just never know how things are going to pull together, but it seems to pull together somehow. This year's not any exception. And, we start in early October, and every Saturday, my kids are at high school, and we practice until noon, from 8 until noon, until the end of February. And that's just part of the commitment that they put forth. I'm very proud of them. So I get to present to you some first and third place medal winners. These students, they won first place in entomology. If you're not familiar with that, that's the study of insects. And Tanya Carrillo and Maria Venezuela.
Just for that.
See, you found it. Good.
okay, there you go.
Likes to snout weevils. Also in first place in the field of botany, we have Kason Wilson and Leslie Alivas. And in third place, this is a build event called Air Trajectory, where they have to make a pneumatic device to shoot a ping pong ball. And they did very well with that. We have Kason Wilson and Preston Evans. And also in third place, we have protein modeling, which is a very challenging event. It's really a college level idea. We have Preston Evans again and Emma Fernandez. Just, yeah.
Good job. All the hard work.
I also like to say that we placed 8th overall out of 20, I think about 23 different schools. So that's quite an accomplishment. Coming from Little Old Hobbs, yeah, we did very well. It's the picture time now.
Weevil, eh? Old weevil, pecan weevil.
Gray shirt. Perfect, like this, like that. Look right up here. Cover roll. Eyes on me, please. Good, thank you.
Congratulations, guys. Next, we have. Let me flip flop. Yeah. And that way we can see, sit down for the, presentation. Coach Stevens, you wanna come on back? Do this presentation. Sorry.
Mr. President,
I thoroughly do that.
Coach Sawyer is coaching me up on how to do this. I've never been here, and he said, make sure you say Madam President. So I'm glad
Sorry.
I checked that, Mr. President, board members, Superintendent Strickland. It's my honor and distinct privilege to present to you Coach Jeff Willingham. He is the 2024 Frank Broyles Assistant Coach of the Year Award winner. This is a national award that is given out each year. You have to be selected by your peers. It's not something that comes from within our staff or within our program. It's got to come from the coaching association. They give out one winner to each state, and so there's 50 winners. Also, in addition to this, there is winners at each college level. There's a Division I coach, assistant coach of the year, which was Al Groden, I believe, from the University of Notre Dame. And then Division II, Division III. They have a huge ceremony in Hot Springs. Is that correct, Coach? Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's a 2-day event with over 800 people that attend the event on which these people are recognized. Coach Willingham and his wife attended the event. I believe the event can still be seen if you go to the Frank Broyles website. The ceremony is still there. Coach Willingham is a longtime resident of New Mexico. He grew up in Ruidoso, where he played in 2 state championship games. From there, he went to Eastern New Mexico University, where he played college football. Began his coaching and teaching career at Portales, where he coached in another state championship game there. From there, he moved on to Artesia, and in Artesia, he was a part of 10 winning state championships in both football, golf, and track and field. For the last 6 years, he's been here in Hobbs with us, and we've been extremely blessed to have Coach Willingham here in Hobbs, where he teaches U.S. history, and he is our defensive coordinator and linebackers coach. The things that stood out about Coach Willingham that got him selected for this is that Coach Willingham, he's a coach that coaches with purpose. And so he understands that his purpose as a coach is to develop young men and young women and develop them into productive members of society, not just win games. He also does an outstanding job in the classroom. He epitomizes what it is to be education-based athletics. And so for these things in his long career and his as much success as he's had on the field, it's his character, it's his compassion, his commitment to developing young people that got him recognized to earn this prestigious award. And so we as a community are blessed to have him and his wife, Robin, and his family in our community. Him as a part of the school. I am very lucky to have him as my defensive coordinator. While we have not won the state championship yet, I do believe we are moving in that direction. So, Coach Willingham, 2024 Frank Broyles Assistant Coach of the Year.
Over here, please.
Oh. Robin, did you get what you need? I did.
Jeff, on behalf of Hobbs Schools, We appreciate the value that you place in our kids. That you contribute to their success. Thanks for being a Hobbs Eagle. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
So we'll flip-flop our portion of the agenda, and now we'll have Mr. Matas, our CTE director, to introduce our next presentation.
Can I move it up here?
Yeah, absolutely. Now we've got pictures of everything.
That would be. Right, there you go. Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Strickland, I would like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our project. We have our American Spirit team back behind me. We want to present our project because it's not only a competition, but the project they're doing for their skills competition will make an impact in our community. So I'm just going to introduce you the members, and they'll come up here and let you know what all this is about. So I have Zaina Centeno, Adriel Rivera, Isael Rodriguez, Eric Torres, and Karime Contreras.
Good evening. Good evening. I am Karime Contreras.
I'm Eric Torres.
I'm Isabel Rodriguez.
I'm Adriel Rivera.
And I'm Zaina Centeno. Mr. President, members of the board, and Mr. Strickland, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. As many of you know, our chapter is leaving tomorrow for our state competition. We're bringing 86 students with us. With that said, we wanted to give you a sneak peek of one of the events that we'll be participating in. We're competing in American Spirit, which is essentially a community service and press release based competition. Our event is divided into 3 categories, namely community service, patriotism and citizenship, and promotion of career and technical education. Our American Spirit team consists of myself, Karime Contreras, and Juan Arona, and we're grateful to have our community service team, which is a different competition, who are here to practice their speaking skills for their own competition. With that said, let's get started.
So this project has been a journey, one built on purpose, passion, and teamwork. Over the last few months, we've poured our hearts into creating meaningful change through service, advocacy, and storytelling. Each section reflects not only our community's values, but the power of Skills USA to turn students into leaders.
Hobbs, New Mexico is known for its oil and gas industry. We live in a place where pump jacks shape the skyline and generations have worked to fuel the country. But because of this history, many people simplify Hobbs to just that, an oil town. So for Section 1 Community Service, we set out to change that narrative through our project From Rigs to Roots. This initiative was designed to honor our city's past while building a more sustainable future. So in partnership with the City of Hobbs, we were able to plant over 50 trees across our community. 13 of those trees are planted at elementary schools to represent learning and growth, and 5 trees are planted at CTEC to show our commitment to closing the skills gap. In the same way, 17 of those trees represent the Skills USA framework 17 essential elements, while the final tree stands for building the workforce of tomorrow. In order to expand and fund our project, we were able to launch a sponsor a tree program, inviting businesses, organizations, and even individuals to take part in redefining Hobbs. Each tree that we planted includes a custom metal stand produced by our construction and welding students, each engraved with a QR code that redirects to the website we've made. The website shares each tree's location, sponsor, and what essential element that they represent. The impact of our first initiative was formally recognized by the Mayor of Hobbs, who presented us with a formal proclamation declaring March 3rd, 2025 as the Skills USA Leadership Day. From Rigs to Roots was not just about planting trees. It was about planting purpose, reshaping our identity, and even proving Hobbs that Hobbs is not built on just oil. It's built on its people.
We did Section 2, which is called Patriotism and Citizenship. to honor and support our veterans and active duty soldiers. For this initiative, we partnered with several key organizations, the American Legion, the United Way, and the Hobbs Public Library. The goal was to create an event that will not only help veterans reconnect with moments of joy that they may have lost during their time in the battle, but also provide support to soldiers currently serving overseas, particularly those stationed in Saudi Arabia.
Important factors in our project is to foster a sense of community and gratitude. Another important factor of our project is to create care packages, which included hygiene products, warm clothing, and thank you letters.
This project was an important way to show our gratitude to soldiers and veterans, but this project wasn't only a way to show our support and gratitude to soldiers and veterans. It was a learning experience for our students.
Okay, for section 3, we expanded beyond traditional school-based outreach by launching the Ripple Effect, an initiative promoting career technical education and Skills USA across 3 waves: family, industry, and policymakers. Just like ripples in water, we demonstrated that a single action can create waves of influence. For the first wave, we emphasized on families as they're the foundation to student success. We hosted an open house at CTEC during Skills USA Week's Advocacy Day. Instead of a simple presentation, we engaged families through 4 interactive booths. Each family received a double-sided flyer with Skills USA's mission on one side and the framework on the other. To complete the framework, attendees collected stamps from all booths. Over 100 families from various Lee County cities participated, and over 50 families signed up for Skills USA. The second wave expanded past families and into the workforce. For Skills USA Week's Partner Day, we collaborated with CTE Pathways to create appreciation tokens for our sponsors. Our culinary students made Skills USA cookies, our construction and welding students created plaques, and our digital media students designed cards. We delivered these to over 50 businesses so we could strengthen current partnerships and secure new ones. For the final wave, we reached the highest level of impact. We advocated to our policymakers and legislators for continued CTE funding during CTSO Day at the Roundhouse. Our focus was on sustaining the Next Gen grant, which funds CTSOs and CTE programs statewide. The Ripple Effect is more than an initiative. It's a movement ensuring CTE is recognized and supported at every level of society.
Every part of our project was intentional, even down to the paper we printed our binder on. We chose to print it on recycled paper to show growth and sustainability, which is a nod to the roots that we planted in our first section. We went from planting trees to planting purpose, from sending care packages to sending a message of gratitude, and from an open house to a statewide ripple. We showed with our journey that is not just built to compete, it is built to inspire, because we believe that at the heart of Skills USA is not just skill, it's service. And with service comes impact. Thank you for giving us your time, and thank you for letting us show you what it means to lead with American spirit.
Good job.
That was awesome. Thank y'all so much.
Thank
That's,
you.
Good job. Good luck tomorrow.
Very good.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Coach.
We're competing in 35 different competitions this weekend, so we're taking in, I believe, 113 registered students and advisors. And next board meeting, we'll present our results. Last year we sent 40 students to nationals. So in order to go to national, they had to.
Good luck.
Good luck, for sure.
We all are in dangerous there.
You need to like have an end of the meeting. That's exactly right. Whoever's executive session.
Okay, we'll go ahead and keep going. We didn't have anyone, did Miss Jones ever get on? You good? Hey, Miss Jones. So we didn't have any registrations for public comment. So moving forward, we'll go to instruction.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Strickland. Tonight I bring for you, just for information, our spring parent conferences. Those were held Wednesday, the February 26th. Yeah, just a month ago. Just seems like yesterday. If you look at our numbers, you can kind of see elementary had 79% average. Secondary 30.9% average. You can also see our historical over the last couple of
Good. We like to get parents out so that they can connect with the schools and better outcomes for their children.
Any questions, comments?
With that, we'll move on to item B with consideration of our science adoption. This year is our science adoption. You know, every year we have a new subject that we adopt. So I just provided you a brief overview of the science adoption and the process we went through. What we do at our office is we kind of narrow some of those choices down, and we have vendor presentations to our staff. We allow our staff time to utilize the materials. You know, you can see something that's pretty in packaging, and if you don't use it and see what it feels like, it's a little more difficult. So you can see in elementary that we had 3 vendors. We had Savvis Experience, Studies Weekly Science, and Studies Weekly Explore. And our ultimate vote was Savvis Experience. It was a 2/3 vote, overwhelmingly. And then we also put our materials out during Parent Conference Day so our parents could preview the materials. And overwhelmingly, the vote from them was Savvis as well. It's great to see that alignment. And both parties are on the same page. And then secondary, they had 3 to 5 vendors recommendation. Theirs is a little bit differently as you move into different content. So the second page of that, you can see which companies were actually chosen for middle school, the freshman school, our AP courses, and our non-AP courses, and our biology. And for any questions on science adoption.
So we adopted this year. When was it going to affect? Next year or the year?
Next year.
Next year.
Yes, sir.
We'll be doing some training up this summer.
This summer at the beginning of the year as well.
Any big changes or anything?
Budgetarily, elementary has traditionally gone with Studies Weekly or Science Weekly, and then a textbook for 3rd through 5th. But this year, those teachers chose a textbook all the way up, so that's a change. So it will impact us budgetarily a little bit. So, but other than that, the thing I'll also point out is in language arts, we have Savvis Literacy, and so we have the Savvis Science that they're able to integrate. So I think that's going to be a great support within our literacy. They can bring in the science and so.
Does E still equal MC squared?
Absolutely. We should ask our students who just left.
Yeah.
Yes.
Other questions, comments?
No.
Take a motion for adoption of this, for the consideration of the science adoption.
So moved.
Okay.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
The next item I bring for you is our district bilingual application. This is just a renewal of our application we've had for the last several years. An action item. We haven't changed programming, we've just increased number of students.
Any questions, comments? Take a motion for consideration of the 2025-26 bilingual application.
So moved.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Dixie, anything else?
So I'll pass the buck.
All right. Bird.
Mr. President, members of the board, so with human resources, you have your monthly informational reports. We did have one certified individual that came on board with us at Hobbs High School. Classified employment, we did add 7 new individuals. For certified resignations, we had 2 individuals that left for good reasons, just with life happening. We also had classified resignations. We had 4 over the last month. I stand for any questions on those reports.
Looks good.
The last 2 informational items are renewal of coordinators and directors for the upcoming 25-26 school year. And then the other one is for principals and assistant principals. And you'll notice we have a large contingent of those individuals here tonight that want to make sure their name is on the list.
Well, it's good of you to show up.
Why do they always show up on this day? I've been doing that for 6 years. And some of these, I don't even know these people. Yeah. Any questions, Mr. Bird? Comment?
No, we're glad to see your smiling faces, whether you're up for reelection or not.
Man, start making this an action item. Yeah. Or bring donuts or cookies or something.
We like food.
Thank you, Mr. Bird. Appreciate you. Ada.
Mr. President, members of the board, I have 2 items just for information. It's our 3rd report. We just finished our 3rd reporting period, the 120 day, and I have an attendance report and an enrollment report. The first one is attendance. I left 40 and 80 up there for you just to refresh your memory. And then the 120 day is in the bottom left-hand corner with the colored boxes. You can see the colors represent the lowest percentage of chronic absentees by school. So green is the best. So you can see Broadmoor with 15% is leading the pack. But if you're looking at the change, which is the last column, not huge changes, except in a couple of places, but for the most part, we are holding steady. Increasing a little bit, but not too much.
Hang in there, guys. School's almost over. Keep coming. Yes. I wasn't talking to the principal.
We want them to show up too.
Mr. President, if I may, really to highlight the efforts that have gone into consistent attendance is really been a district effort, from classroom teachers to administrators on campus, support staff from here at central office, as well as our PALs, has seen significant gains year over year.
and we continue to look towards consistent attendance out of students. Given that it is March Madness in the NCAA basketball world, we're also holding our own March Madness, and I believe we're down to the Final Four. Is that right? So every Friday through the month of March, we pull that data, and those schools in their matchups that have the highest attendance rating, they move on. So we're in the Final Four, and even highlight, we got a shout out from the Public Education Department in terms of our effort related to consistent attendance for March Madness effort. So appreciate all the staff that continue to engage in that, and we're beginning to see it take root because our parents via social media, they're having those discussions among themselves saying, hey, so-and-so, hey, Houston, let's make sure and beat so-and-so. So that's where that conversation continues or needs to be. It needs to be within the community so that the schools are not driving that consistent attendance. So when parents recognize that, and we appreciate the partnership of parents that are taking that initiative, it only leads to good things for kids. So good stuff.
Any other comments on enrollment? I just say one thing, and I know all your educators and obviously you parents, but just looking at, I don't have the stats in front of me or whatever, but just talking to people, 2 things that's going to help kids succeed in the school: parental involvement and being in school. Get those 2 things. I don't care what science adoption we have. We have great teachers, we have great administrators, all that, but parents have to be involved in your kids' education, and kids have to be at school. That's gonna trump everything else and have successful students and successful adults.
The next information item is the 120-day enrollment report. The boxes highlighted in green are new information for this third reporting period. On the 120-day for 24-25 school year, we had an enrollment of 10,181, a membership of 9,898, and an FTE membership of 9,816. Over on the right-hand side, the average of the 180 and 120 day, that's part of the funding formula. And so you can see that as compared to the previous year. Also, you have, I have a comparison there. The difference in 120 day last year to 120 day this year, we have 88 fewer students enrolled and membership of 61 fewer. And then if you're looking at current 120-day enrollment versus the beginning of the year at 40-day, we have 2 fewer students in enrollment, 16 fewer in membership, and 38 fewer in FTE membership. I will stand for any questions on either of those informational items.
I have none.
Comments?
Thank you.
Ms. Bird, appreciate you.
Turn it over to him again. No, not you. No. Him.
Operations, Mr. Young.
President, members of the board, even though Mrs. Bird tried to slip me, I will go ahead and do my part.
Yeah, I saw how long it was given down.
So, bring to you our project update. Starting with the new middle school and hazard replacement. Some of this I went over last month, but just kind of a refresher that PSCOC did approve our early work package. We signed in our contract with them in the next couple of days to get that early work package started. With hopefully spring in a little bit after our next board meeting. On the ground. Bid packages, that deadline was February 27th. We met with Bradbury Stam, Park Hill on March 14th. We have a preliminary GMP. See those prices there. These are all-in prices with all alternates, everything included. That may change according to when we go to council. Funding from council also will change it because Bradbury Stam or CMAR along with Park Hill and ourselves continue to work with those bidders to see if we can get a little bit better pricing on a few items. But you see there the new middle school. This includes the early work package price of the road and dirt work that will start. That price $77,492,300. That is down from the estimated cost of $95 million. So that's the work that's been put into this. Kaiser Middle School, all in, which includes the demolition and removal of the old Kaiser. The total all-in cost is $74,462,030. Pricing is subject to change. So we'll get a firm GMP in the next week or two, and then PSCOC subcommittee meets next Wednesday, April 2nd. They'll review all of our requests through PSFA. And the full committee, that date has changed, published, moved to April. Along with representatives.
14.
Ongoing district projects, College Lane, that is just fine tuning at this point.
Ms.
Raina, did they paint the basketball courts today?
Well, I didn't go through.
Okay.
Yesterday they were.
Okay, basically, we need to stripe the basketball court. There's a little bit of cleanup in the drainage areas that are up, and then College Lane is get our final payout from them, and that closed down. Since our last meeting, we did do the expanded staff parking on the west side, and we did install that additional crosswalk north of the turnaround on that east. A passage for the walkers into still waiting on our quotes for Sanger and Jefferson for the summer installation of new intercom cabling. That project will close out all campuses over the years. Technology changes again, we have to update everything once again. Renovation, Will Rogers, God bless him. Electrical panel was installed. We were able to finally get state inspection yesterday on that, and we were able to reopen the campus today. Unfortunately, or fortunately, if you're an 8-year-old, you got the day off yesterday. So our teachers and staff did work yesterday. They were up here doing lesson designs and some other things. Appreciate the work that Ms. Anya and apologize for that. Put together, and those teachers worked diligently yesterday. Podium's got everything cleaned back up after a week. Nobody in there and no electricity. Other action items, we are in the last phase of our capital outlay request. That ends on Friday at noon. We've had multiple requests. Unfortunately, we will not be able to do all those requests. Not be able to support every single item that every single wants. So, the emphasis, as was stated to our principal, is on student need or adult need. If you noticed across the field, we do have 4 samples being on our practice fields right now. To look at the possibility of installing artificial turf on 1 or possibly 2 of those practice fields. Will alleviate our problem having boys and girls soccer, varsity football, JV football. The whole game. Everybody wants to be on the turf. Correct. And our grass had gotten pretty rough over the last few years. A lot of community involvement on that. After we get off the fields, there are multiple. But it was really. Then at PSCLC, also in April, they will approve our application. Projects.
Questions for Mr. Young?
No question.
Our next item is the overview of the HMS new website. We're excited about launching a new website. We had to twist Mr. Strickland's arm a lot to get approval to redo our website, but he's allowed us to do that. It's been a year-long project with Mr. Strickland, myself, Mrs. Kavanaugh, Ms. Hughes from CTEC, of course, our IT director, Andrew Taglia, and our district webmaster, Noe Soto. Noe in a tie, that looks really sharp. But they're here to give an overview of our new website.
You look good as well.
We called ahead so we could match.
Exactly.
Mr. President, members of the board, we have some exciting news to share with you tonight that has been almost a year in the making. We're excited to announce that tomorrow evening at 4 p.m., our new district and school websites will be going live. Tonight, we'd like to show you a sneak preview of those sites and some of the new features. Before we do, and well, my companion here gets set up on the screens, I want to take a minute to recognize our team members that have worked on getting us to the point that we are today and ready for our launch tomorrow. First, I know you all know how busy Superintendent Strickland and Assistant Superintendent Doug Young are, yet somehow they managed to make it to every weekly meeting and training.
You have food?
There was no food.
Not once.
Okay.
You got one next week.
There will be one next week.
Still hope.
Then 2 of the best PR people in the business, Jenny Kavanaugh and Christy Hughes, who do an amazing job providing the content for our website with pictures, videos, and news articles. They trained with us the entire time, and so they can continue to provide that great content on our new sites. Joining remotely with us tonight on Zoom is our representative from Apogee, Taylor Barber. And he's worked with us to help us migrate all of our content from the old site to the new sites and train us on the new platform. He wanted to be here tonight to share this announcement with y'all and to represent Apogee, which is the company that will be hosting our new sites. And then last, but certainly not least, our district webmaster, Mr. Noe Soto. He spent countless hours reviewing our migrated data, setting up features on the new sites, and researching the new methods of content delivery and making sure everything is ready for our changeover tomorrow. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Soto so he could show us a quick preview of these sites and features.
Thank you, Andrew. And I would like to direct your attention to the screens now where you can see a preview of the front page of our new website. So I will explain briefly how it's structured. So on top, you will see that golden bar. It contains resources for parents, students, teachers, employees, but also access to the different departments of central office, athletics, if you want to get your tickets, news and all that, it's on the main menu up there. The other section is the gallery. You'll see the mission statement for the school district and also a really nice picture of central office. It's a nice picture. But down here, there's a section with buttons. It's quick access for different resources that are commonly used by parents and students, like for example, register for a school. If a kid is struggling with something, we had a mental health support right there in the front. If the parent is looking for photos for the kid and an event, it's right there in the front as well. Or if somebody is experiencing some sort of problem, a kid, they can report a concern right there in a big button so they can see it as immediately as they access the front page. The other section is events. You'll see populated there the events that are hosted, and like for the school district, it could be games, it could be the board meetings. They'll populate right there, so you can keep up with those. And this is a really neat section that comes with the new platform we're using. So it's going to help us connect better with our community and keep them informed as well of what's going on in Hobbs school district. So the news and the live feed. The news will upload news that are more relevant, and they're in a bigger format. As you see, like they have a big picture, and if you click inside one of them, you can expand it and read the whole article of that new. So that's the news section. The live feed is actually pretty neat because it's connected to our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Everything that is installed is uploaded to those social media platforms will also be showing in our live feed. So our community is well informed about what's going on the school district. Now, going back on top of the website, we have that black section up there, Explore Schools and Translate. That's where you can select other school websites if you want to navigate to those. So like, for example, here, you will see a list of the different categories for elementary, middle school, and you can pick a website. Like, for example, if we go to CTEC, you will see that the page structure is the same as the front page. So we have the main menu up there. We have the section with the gallery, and you can see the nice pictures of CTEC as well, the quick access buttons, and the news and live feed as well. So they can keep up with that information for the community as well. And if we go to, like, for example, an elementary school, you'll notice that it's the same structure. So that's that will be easier for our parents, students to keep up. I mean, it's more simplified, organized, so they can find things quickly and easier for them. Another cool feature from this new platform we're implementing is a mobile app. So I wasn't able to connect my phone, but I did some screenshots and I did a little slide show presentation for y'all so you can see how it looks like. So if you want to go to the App Store right now, you can download it. It's for free. But I put it right there, and it's big. That's what it looks like. And the name is Hobbs Eagles. If you want to look for it and download it. When you open that app, you'll receive this window. It's kind of small, but I'll describe it. It shows the live feed. So basically, all the articles are being posted in Facebook, Instagram, X will be showing up on the app for y'all to see. Also, the more recent events as they are on the website are down here. And I highlighted a couple places right there. Like if you see up there on the arrow, you can select another school. So you can keep up with the live feed, events, and resources from other schools as well, if you want to see that. On the bottom, there's another cool feature from the app that is teacher and parent communication tool. Is Classrooms, where it's like a two-way communication where they can chat. So it's a really good feature for that app as well. Now, if you like tab on top on the up left corner where the 3 lines are, you'll receive this menu right here where you have all the resources from that school, like documents, like notifications, staff, events, and like this is the school district, but for like elementary schools, so it will show like the lunch menus too, and we can enable forms too, so they can fill them out on the app. So that was the quick preview from the website and the app, but I'm sure you'll be able to like put your hands on soon tomorrow when we publish it for the public. But for now, we stand for any questions or any comments. Feel free to mention or ask a question.
Looks very nice. I think it's a lot of work.
It was.
Yeah,
Not a small
quite.
job.
No, sir.
Good job.
Great job. It looks
Yeah.
great.
Mr. President, members of the board, one thing else I want to add to that is as individual campuses post things on their live feed for their individual campus, they have the option of selecting Hop Schools and it will post to the live feed for Hop Schools as well. So not only does each campus need to get to manage their own communication environment within their community, they're actually able to share that information with the larger community as a whole. So it absolutely brings about one of our primary goals is to communicate with the public more regularly. And so as those opportunities present themselves, Hop Schools has the opportunity to do that for many more spots. So absolutely, Noe, great job. Appreciate all the hard work.
Thank you.
While Andrew gave us credit for being in the meetings, Andrew and Noe did the work. And so they did a phenomenal job of making sure things are ready to go. And I can tell you, Ms. Lopez has already checked to see if Out of Zone is ready to go for next year. So
it will appear soon.
yeah,
Soon
that's
enough.
right.
It'll be there.
So we, I absolutely appreciate the diligence because it's been time. We've talked about this for quite a while and it's been time for an update. And so thrilled with the product that we've selected. And Taylor, if you're still there, we appreciate your partnership from Apogee. You guys have been a good teammate.
Yes, sir. I don't know if y'all can hear me, but thank you very much. And it's great to meet everyone. You have an absolutely fantastic team here at Hubs.
We're not gonna leave campuses out to dry. We're gonna train them.
Good.
Yes.
Was wondering how they were going to know what to do.
Yeah, we have trained some of our district staff and we have some upcoming training for our school staff. And so they're going to get fully trained on the new platform so that they can post all their own content, news events, live feeds, all that.
And another part of the work was to simplify their job. So like their elementary schools are unified and the way that they can do their content. It'll be easier to keep it updated for the public.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It looks great. Yeah, I like it. Thank you
Very
so
good.
much.
All right. Thank you.
I understand the pushback from Gene because the high tech kind of. I understand.
President,
Appreciate
they actually give me things because they know I'm gonna break it.
You got to make sure it stands up to everybody.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you.
Mr. Young, anything else? Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Word again.
Sure. Mr. President, members of the board, so for your consideration, A, B, and C within the finance, consideration of expenditures for the month, consideration of investments, and then we also had 2 bars for your consideration. We had one in Title IV, there was a decrease, and then one for the Next Gen CTE grant for an increase to that fund?
Board's had their packet for a few days. We've had time to review the expenditures, the investments, look into the bars. I trust that you reached out to Mr. Byrd or his staff. If you had any questions, any comments or anything right now for Mr. Byrd? I seek a motion for consideration of the following item, expenditures, investments in the two bars.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President, members of the board, the next item will be the finance department overview. I do want to make one comment before we get started. Mr. Taglia, you were already on the renewal list. No reason to pump up Mr. Strickland and Mr. Miller. Again, it's my privilege to serve with a department that I've had the privilege of the last 6 months or so getting to know and getting to work with a group of individuals that work very, very hard and are very dedicated to making sure that, number one, we pay our bills and take care of our people and those things. But basically an overview of the department. Obviously, we want to ensure fiscal compliance and accountability for all schools and departments here in the district. We maintain a system of internal controls to provide reasonable assurance that money is being spent where it needs to be and safeguarding the assets of the district. Lastly, we want to support the mission by providing reliable financial oversight and basically fostering transparency. Never want to be a finance department that tries to hide money from people and not let anybody know, hey, this is where we're doing it. Some of our key responsibilities, obviously oversight of district finances, compliance with financial regulations set forth by PED, which is a big one. A little frustrating at times, but we do what we can do. Internal control management, budget planning and execution, payroll administration, financial reporting and auditing. And then within the structure of the department, we've had some changes here since I've taken over, just due to the fact of not being able to find qualified other individuals out there that want to come in and take on a school business official role. So within our structure now, the assistant superintendent, we have an accountant position, an accounts payable, accounts receivable, chief procurement, and payroll. And so as we move into those roles and responsibilities for each of those, and again, I listed, probably way too many things here with the assistant superintendent, because much like the HR department, the individuals in that department kind of run and keep me in line on things and have done a good job to where I can just oversee and not have to be in there day to day, managing everything. But working with the district leadership team, Mr. Strickland, and members of cabinet to make sure that, again, we're spending the money where it needs to be spent, which is in the classroom on our students. Ms. Vigil, Ms. Rozier, at least I didn't call you Mr. Parks. Miss Robinson. Her team upstairs of really focusing and going through all the hard work that they do with adoption and those kind of things. And then, telling us, hey, this is really what we need to be successful, in the classroom. So again, not going to spend a lot of time on that position. The accountant position right now has taken on a huge role. This person prepares the financial reports for the board, so the reports that you see every month, and for the superintendent and other stakeholders. A huge assist with internal and external audits. We just got done with that here in the last few months, and this person does a great job of, working with the auditor, responding to findings and implementing recommendations as we talk through, what those should be. She does a great job of monitoring expenditures and revenue streams to ensure fiscal responsibility. Really works closely with PED right now, especially as we get it close to budget season. We found out last week that our budget will be due to PED April 21st, which, yeah, it's a little quick, but we're going to manage and we're going to get it done. So again, accountant role, very important. Accounts payable. Within accounts payable, we actually have 3 individuals that work in this position. Just due to the sheer volume of the vendors and the number of people that we have to get paid. We have a lead person and then 2 individuals that work underneath that person. But basically they're responsible for, receiving invoices and making sure that we get them paid on time. Because really nothing, I don't want to speak for Mr. Strickland, but for myself, nothing embarrasses me more when we get a late notice or something from a vendor. Hey, why haven't we been paid? Because that's not the Hobbs schools. I mean, we want to make sure that we're taking care of that, and we don't have those issues. But that's something that we want to maintain. They also ensure compliance with district policies as far as making sure POs, requisitions are set up before we make payment and those kind of things to follow procurement guidelines. We also have an individual who runs accounts receivable. So occasionally we do get money in from different locations. We've been fortunate. Our county has been very generous to us here as of late, that this person will take those checks, will put it in the deposit, get it into the right account, and then record those where they need to go in order to make sure that that money is then used for whatever it's been earmarked for. They'll prepare bank deposits for incoming checks and cash payments, and then they go back and verify the transactions on the bank statement, ensure that we've made, it in our Skyward system. Probably not the most important position in the office, but one of the most important is Chief Procurement Officer. So this person is responsible for making sure that the district's in compliance with all procurement regulations as far as when we go out to bid, that if we're making a purchase over a certain amount, we have to have so many bids, and to make sure that the process is followed to ensure that those individual companies that are bidding, it's open and transparent, and that everybody has their own way of making sure that they get to the table and present what they can do for us. This person will also put you in procurement jail if you don't have a PO set in place. You'll get a little letter saying, hey, next time we're not going to do this. But no, a very important position there in the department. Probably the most important to most individuals, especially as employees, is our payroll clerk. Because come the 15th and the end of the month, if I don't have a paycheck in my bank account, I get a little nervous and, hey, what's going on? So the payroll clerk basically is going to prepare and process all payroll records, and then make sure that we have accurate payments. We're going to verify hours worked, salary rates, deductions, and benefits. So there's a lot of crossover in this position with HR just to make sure that we're making the right deductions and benefit payments on the individual employees. They'll also make sure that we get all of our payroll taxes paid to the state and to the federal government. And we'll get those tax filings out. They'll get out the W-2s and the 1099s to our vendors. And then basically, again, coordinate with with our HR department to make sure that if there are discrepancies, where is it at? And we can make sure that it is something that we can correct for the employee. Okay, I know I ran through that really quick. Is there any questions?
No quick.
Mr. Bird, this is office. I'd just like to say thank you for what you do. I know that's, we just, we're talking about budget. We just got audited. We just pretty much just finished the audit. We fix to start the next one. We just, the session just stopped or just ended. So now we know what the money's going to be. So now we literally have less than a month to get our budget set off of that. So very important roles and responsibilities, and appreciate you taking on that job. Yeah. Thanks everybody and your staff as well. They do a great job. Anything else, Mr. Bird?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Trickle.
Mr. President, members of the board, I have for your information an update of the legislative session. It did finish. The 60-day session for 2025 did end on Saturday at noon. And as we heard last night at our regional school board meeting, over 1,300 bills were introduced. And out of those 1,300 bills, 87 of them dealt with public education. Out of those 87, 28 of them made their way completely through the process of both the House and the Senate concurred with what those bills were proposing and have been forwarded to the fourth floor for governor's signature. What I have in front of you, as well as on the screen, is really just an overview that the New Mexico School Board Association provided to us. And so I've highlighted a few things. House Bill 2, we pay attention to every single year, and that's the general appropriation. That's where our school budget sits within our school state equalization guarantee. A couple things to highlight there. There is a 4% average salary increase included within that. The reason why we point that out is not only do we enjoy rewarding our employees with greater salaries, the language that we pay attention to is average. The legislature for at least the last 6 years has proposed average salary increases and has provided money into the budget of $10.8 billion for average salary increases of all state employees of 4%. The current executive has stricken the word average every year for the last 6 years. So we anticipate that to be the same again. We are preparing a budget with that reality once it comes to reality. And so there's some reasons why you want to look at an average, because it does allow you to take care of other compactions within your salary schedule. The key differences is the legislature proposed a budget on average. That language goes away. Where's that other money coming from if they only approved $10.8 billion? And I can tell you where it comes from. You find it other places. It doesn't show up in our traditional SEG. Increases to annual salary, we're already there. We're well beyond those minimums as a school district, and as a school board, we are grateful for your support of our employees in terms of absolutely being above those minimums. Some other non-recurring things there. The next one there is House Bill 54, and I apologize if that's too small to read. But House Bill 54 deals with defibrillators in every single high school. We're already there. We have a defibrillator in every single building for Hobbs schools, and we've done that for a number of years. There is money attached to this, so we're excited about being able to cash in on something we've been self-funding for well over a decade. Maybe be able to replace some of those. We do annually replace a certain percentage of those, so we look forward to participating in that. House Bill 63, I can tell you is a question mark for us, because we don't know what those changes are going to be to the funding formula. We do believe they're a move in the right direction, and all preliminary calculations show that they're of benefit to us. So we do support them. They're a move in the right direction. One of those that's a key thing is the index for secondary students currently sits at 1.25. This legislation moved secondary students to 1.30. They recognize, LESC recognized over the last 2 years in their study that secondary education costs more, and it costs more than it did when they implemented 1.25 as the index. An additional change to that is they moved sixth graders into that secondary index. They historically have been a 1.0. They now will be a 1.30 to match all 7th through 12th graders. Next one there, House Bill 65, instructional days in a school year. I don't think it's any secret that there's a lawsuit that has been ruled and has been ruled in favor of the plaintiffs that said state statute overrides regulation. So state statute says that local school districts have the responsibility to set their calendar to meet 1,140 hours of instructional time. PED subsequently wrote a rule that said everyone will go 180 days of school. Well, remember that last year, that was the big brouhaha. A lawsuit ensued. Number of school districts and groups here in New Mexico. The plaintiffs prevailed in that lawsuit. I believe it's Judge Chavez he's in Chavez County. Apologies. The district judge from Chavez County ruled in favor of the plaintiffs and said state statute supersedes regulation. And that is what districts are operating on right now. We do believe that the department and the executive will file a motion to request an appeal. That motion could be denied. That's all important in terms of House Bill 65, because what the legislators attempted to do was clarify that legislative intent is exactly what we tell you it is. Instructional hours, 1,140 hours, and that school districts have the authority to do that. This bill, believe it or not, passed unanimously in the House and the Senate and was on the governor's desk for signature. I don't think the ink was dry before it was vetoed. Now, that's a story coming out of the roundhouse. Interestingly enough, that bill went back down to the House, and they voted in unanimous fashion to override that veto as a will of the people. All good news. However, the Senate did not get to their override. So the veto still stands in terms of House Bill 65. But we can imagine that issue's not dead. I can understand why you would not sign that bill if there's a lawsuit that you're contesting. You're not going to sign that bill. So I can see why the governor didn't sign it. So stay tuned on that one. Doesn't affect us. We're already above the 1140 in those areas. The next page there is House Bill 156. I shared with you before the increase to the minimum salary schedule. We're well above that for every single one of those categories, so it doesn't affect us. House Bill 195, again, another one that does not affect us. We pay our nurses based upon their level at the same rate as our salary schedule for our teachers, levels 1, 2, and 3. So no impact to us. House Bill 32, means of a teacher advancement. Now, this was one that we're going to study a little bit, and we're grateful for Representative Pettigrew sponsoring this bill to see what possibilities exist. And so in the interim, the Legislative Education Study Committee will take this on, and they will see what possibilities exist to grant micro-credentials, which is what employees are now doing in terms of advancing, but allowing that to be similar to what we do with our high school kids. Our high school kids are in dual credit. So allow those micro-credentials to count for dual credit and require higher ed department to recognize and honor those. So again, there's the devil in the details there. We'll take a look and see what that becomes. Senate Bill 11 on the next page, anti-distraction policy in schools. We will look at this and see essentially what it says is that by August 1 of 2025, this board shall adopt a anti-distraction policy. Was the original draft. That was changed as an amendment in Senate Finance to may adopt an anti-distraction policy in schools. I can tell you, being in campuses and being in buildings and being in classrooms, teachers are doing this already. So am I a fan of this bill? I think it sends a message. When you read the bill beyond the title, there's a whole lot to the bill that is not what the title communicates. And so, again, we're grateful that the language moved to may. So as a board, we'll have the option to adopt that policy one way or the other. We absolutely will wait on the Policy Service Advisory to see what language comes out of that. It'll be interesting timing on that. If it's required to be in place by August 1, it requires PED to provide guidelines. So we'll see where that falls. But I can tell you, teachers manage those environments in those classrooms. We had a really good conversation today with the district coalition about what this could look like. And the overwhelming majority simply said, let us do what we're doing. If I have a problem instructionally not engaging with my students, that their device is more entertaining, then I should have a problem with my administrator, or my administrator should have a problem with me. So I was grateful that that was the perspective in the room, because we know when we write policy for a specific action, that becomes very difficult to enforce. The reality is this policy here would not be a Board of Education policy to enforce. It would be a policy enforced at the classroom level with the individual leading that class. So it, again, broad stroke approach may be the best advice there. Senate Bill 133, this really updates the rules on returning to work employees. So currently, if you're an employee that retires and you sit out 90 days, you currently have to cease employment after 36 months as a retiree. This bill, it moves that sunset to 60 months. We're hopeful that in a subsequent legislative session, that sunset goes away, and that school districts are allowed to determine when an employee should no longer be employed based upon retirement and contribution. So it's a move in the right direction. We're grateful that ERB was receptive to that. As you can see within the packet, there's a number of bills that did not pass and that will not be submitted to the government for signature. But with that, I think overall, the legislative session was kind to us. There's definitely a blessing in terms of financially. We do believe financially, what we can tell right now, we're going to be in good shape. Not going to be in great shape, but we're going to be in good shape as it relates to our state equalization guarantee. That I would stand for questions.
Did the juvenile crime bill pass or not pass?
Did not, well, there's an omnibus bill, Mr. Calderon, that we haven't gotten our hands on yet, so we'll take a look at it. But what we do believe for that omnibus is it didn't do much for juvenile. We have heard calls from the governor and from the Republican caucus for a special session to deal specifically with juvenile crime.
If you look at the Hobbs News on page 3, it's scary. All the juvenile stuff that's going on. Had a conversation with one of my children, one of my boys, the detention center, and he says, I'm not gonna mention any names, I saw a picture of you with my cousin. He was a good student. He had respect. They taught him how to respect people and all that. And he had the same thing. I said, but you're a good kid too, whatever. He said, well, not really, because look at where I am. I got 21 boys, 5 girls. I can have up to 24 boys. And these kids are doing things that some are tried as adults, whatever. 8 years ago, I was still teaching in Brownfield. Came home, went to church, and my wife says, "Oh, there's 2 bullet holes in my truck." I had 2 bullet holes in my truck. I live over there by Southern Heights. During the holidays, Christmas holidays, we were going to go buy groceries. And she says, there was a bullet hole in my Camry that I drive. So, bring this up is because I'm safer at the school, in jail, and at the school because of everything that's going on. But I just worry that someday it could happen in Las Cruces, happening in Albuquerque, and might trickle down over here. And what I don't like to hear what the kids, I don't want to know what the kids did. That's part of my policy, but you hear it. And parenting, I saw these kids today, and I was going to say anything in front of these kids because we were having a good time. But this is kind of ugly out there, and it scares the poo out of me. It really does. So I don't know it's not much we can do, whatever, because it's society, it's social.
And Mr. Colon, I think those are good comments and well received. One of the conversations we had in our district coalition today was about our district values. And they have some homework to be able to really inform what that looks like in practices. And our conversation centered around no one's shy about the things that are happening in our community and really in our society. Hobbs is not an anomaly as it relates to, juvenile violence. But the story that I shared with them was really the appreciation we heard last night. We heard from the school board president from Artesia and the school board president from Tatum, how much they appreciated our band and our cheer supporting their kids at the state basketball tournament. And I said, as you look at our values, I want us to be reminded that the vast majority, 95, 96, 97% of our kids are doing it right. And we need to make sure that we continue to highlight their behavior and their activities, because what gets recognized gets duplicated. And so to your point about the parenting of those juveniles, yeah, to Mr. O'Brien's point, I could say we probably can point back to there were some issues there. Maybe they saw some of that behavior as a student, as a young person, their parents behaving that way. But when we as society continue to highlight and talk about the good things that are going on, what ends up happening is those individuals that may choose something different see the benefit here and model their behavior after good. And so it's my mission that we continue to highlight the good things. And so I'll tell you, as a superintendent, I'm so appreciative of this board's support, taking the opportunities out of our time to recognize our students and our staff for the good things that they do. And I will forever be an optimist about the good in our kids. And that doesn't mean that we rest on our laurels when we don't find ways to continue to combat some of those things. But I absolutely appreciate your comments, because there needs to be some tweaks. And District Attorney Luce and I, we've had numerous conversations. We were hopeful that something would show up this session. So we'll see what a special session brings if one comes about. But we do hope that there is some adjustments from a legislative standpoint about what juvenile crime and juvenile justice needs to look like in New Mexico.
Oh, I got it.
Any other questions, comments on the legislative update? Like Mr. Strickland said, it was a very busy session. I know all the local representatives from our area rushed home Saturday and are sitting in front of their computers watching our board meeting tonight. So I do want to thank them for all their hard work. And it's when you go up there and see everything that's going on and what they do, and the meetings and the endless lobbying and things like that, they go through that for 60 days. And it's like we just talked about with the audit, it's already starting now for next time. So I want to personally thank them for all their hard work. And I know from an education standpoint, every local legislator we have, and I think for the most part across the state, when you talk to legislators, they do, education is usually one that one way or the other, we can come together in a bipartisan manner and get together behind it for the best of the kids. So thank you. And thank you for the update.
Mr. President, members of the board, the next item I have for you is a calendar update in reference to our 25-26 school year. And so, Andy, I will say these are completely draft. Just provided them to you as reference. But today we met with the District Coalition, and I think originally I shared in February that we had 5 drafts then. We trimmed it down in the meeting in February. And by the time we left after that session, we had 5 options again. And so they took the last month to provide comments back to each individual draft. And we resolved those comments and questions today during our coalition meeting. Out of that, they selected 3 calendars that are draft that you're seeing for the first time. We will get them back to the coalition to fine tune any mistakes that they may see on my part. And then we'll put this out to a staff vote. I'll go through them real quick. Calendar draft A, well, all 3 of the calendars that are proposed all meet our requirements of 183 instructional days and then 8 days of professional learning above those days. And so that's something that this board has supported, and we're appreciative of that, that if we are to get better in our instructional practices, we have to have committed, dedicated time in order to do that. We will not get better at greater speeds by continuing to do the same thing with just more time. And so by crafting a calendar that we have had for the last 4 years that builds in instructional time, as well as dedicated professional development time, is allowing us to continue to get better, and we're seeing the fruits of those labors. Calendar draft day, similar to this year, just a couple of highlights. Staff would return on the 28th. Students would start on the 31st of July. That is the same day from this year. It just happens to fall in July in terms of the actual calendar itself. A couple of differences I think you would see between this year is October 13th would become a holiday. So they've shifted the professional learning day off of that holiday there. November, you would still see that holiday for election day. And then they have proposed here 2 days of professional learning before Thanksgiving break, 24th and 25th. Semester would end on December the 19th. We would be in Christmas and New Year break through January the 2nd. January the 5th would be a professional learning day. Students back on January the 6th. February the 16th in this proposal would be a holiday. I believe this year it was a professional learning day. Full week at spring break, Good Friday there in April, and that school year would wrap up on May the 22nd. Calendar draft C, and I'll say this real quick. Once we finalize these and get them ready to send out, we will change the names and we'll go with all the types of birds and raptors that we've done in years past. So I don't think the Golden Eagle is one yet, but we'll see what happens.
Trying.
Yeah, keep trying. Calendar draft C, similar, but a little bit of difference. What you'll see is the staff start on July the 30th with those 3 days there, and students would start on Monday, August the 4th. We would have a professional learning day a few weeks after that to probably just kind of tweak what we have after the start of school there on August 20th. October 13th would be a holiday. Thanksgiving, we would go up through the 25th, and we would have those 3 days for Thanksgiving, semester ending on December the 19th. Staff returns on January the 5th for 2 days, and students on the 7th. February, again, would be a holiday, full week at spring break, Good Friday. Students would finish the year in this proposal, would finish the year on May the 22nd, and then we would have 3 days of professional learning to front load fall of 27. So similar to what we would have in Summer Institute, these would be, rather than optional, these would be 3 contract days for staff that we would structure very much a Summer Institute model. Had a lot of discussion around that and a lot of positive discussion around that. I would say they were pretty excited about that, the potential of that. Option calendar 05, staff reporting on July the 31st with 4 days of professional learning, students reporting on August the 6th, and then a staff professional development again in August the 20th. That may be an error. I'll have to check that. But moving forward, October again, 13th, still a holiday, a full week at Thanksgiving on this one. Semester ending on May the 19th. Staff would return on January the 5th, students on January the 8th. This one, February 16th, would be a professional learning day. We would have a full week at spring break. And then in this option, the end of the year would be May the 29th. So you can see where those things flex in terms of, okay, if you give up a day here and not go, you've got to have it on somewhere else on the other end. So again, some very, very positive comments. One of the things that we will provide to the staff as it relates to the calendars when they select vote is we want some feedback. One of the desires of the coalition is to create a 3-year calendar to get out ahead of our calendar rather than doing this every spring. So I set a lofty goal with the coalition today that I desire for us to have our 27-28 calendar before the end of the year as well. as a draft. So I did back off of that as before we were done, right before 4. So we'll see how far we get. But ultimately, we do believe the legislature's done kind of messing with our statutory requirements, especially with the lawsuit sitting. So we feel confident that we can at least draft a immediately preceding calendar and then one following, so that we're ahead of that game each and every year. The questions that the coalition asked that we get feedback on is, would you support some of that professional learning time being in May after Memorial Day? So that it could be intentional on-contract time rather than optional as a summer institute model. A lot of good dialogue around that in the room, in that, look, that allows us some time, just as you were saying, Mr. O'Brien, to prepare for new curriculum, build out maybe those first few weeks of a new curriculum. We get a new one every single year. There's no exception to that. And so some intentional time to do that there. Another question that we had was around a fall break. So thinking of an October break of maybe 3 days, maybe even 5 days in October, maybe give up 2 of those days at Thanksgiving week. So we'll get some feedback from staff, and we'll see where that advice is kind of guiding us before we make recommendations on a 27, 28 calendar, 26, 27 calendar. My apologies, I'm jumping really far ahead.
Yeah, you are.
26, 27 calendar. So with that, I stand for questions.
No
Any
questions.
No questions.
The votes will fall where they may.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is executive session. Consideration to go into executive session for the purpose of discussion regarding limited personal issues, discharge proceedings pursuant to section 10-15-1 H2. No action will be taken, and only the item listed herein will be discussed.
I make a motion that we go into executive session.
Second.
Been motioned in a second. So roll call vote, Mr. Calderon?
Yes.
Ms. Appleton?
Yes.
Mr. Romine?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Supposed to be.
And I vote yes. It is 6:43.
43.
7:43.
We'll get that
You
fixed.
thought you were having a fast meeting. Thank you for coming.
I was until Mr. Young
Second.
Ms. Appleton?
Yes.
Mr. Romine?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Sorted around.
Showing there? Oh, you know what? I was catching on his mic. That's what the feedback was. All right, how's that? All right, so we just had a motion and a second on a consideration return to regular session. And waiting on your vote.
Okay, thank you. Consideration of action taken in executive session. There was no action taken in executive session. I'd take a motion on that.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. That is a roll call vote. Mr. Calderon?
Yes.
Appleton?
Yes.
Romine?
Yes.
Ms. Jones? Yes. Motion passes.
All right, Mr. President, members of the board, I have a number of announcements for you. Above those two that are there, as we shared earlier with the website reveal, out of zones for school year 25, for fall 25, will open on April the 1st. It is not April Fool's Day as it relates to out of zones. But we will open those at 7:30 on April the 1st. Prom for Hobbs High School will be April the 12th here at the indoor facility. In addition, on the 15th, not in addition, but on the 15th of April, we will have the Vidito Foundation Excellence in Teaching Awards.
What was that date again?
April the 15th, that morning.
Oh,
We
I
will-
forget. That's when you guys go out.
Yep, and you all are welcome to join us for those 5 visits. So I'll get you an invite out for that. That night is our regular board meeting. April the 18th, that Friday, we will have Good Friday. April the 30th, we will have the groundbreaking for our new middle school. Just off of Millen Drive. May the 20th, we will have our groundbreaking for Heiser. We'll announce these again as well at the April board meeting. Then on May the 23rd, we will celebrate the class of 2025 of Hobbs High School at graduation at 6 p.m. at Watson Stadium. And then May the 23rd at 6 p.m. Yes, ma'am. With that, I stand for questions.
Any questions for Mr. Strickland on announcements?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Second.
See ya.
Aye.
All right, Ms. Jones, we're out.
Thanks, Mr.